Good afternoon. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners. Commissioners check-in for Monday, September 23rd, 2024. It's 2:05 p.m. My name is Ty Menser, Chair of the Board. Commissioner Gary Edwards with me here in the boardroom. Commissioners Mejia, Fournier, and Klaus on Zoom. And we have County Manager Leonard Hernandez, Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell, Assistant County Manager Josh Cummings. And first up, we have public virtual attendance on Thurston County YouTube channel. A couple of standing items and then a specific item. First up is reports on external boards and commissions from commissioners. Commissioner Edwards, do you want to start? Anything to report from external boards?
You know, I don't have anything of substance, so I'm going to keep it short.
Okay. Commissioner Mejia?
Yes. Okay. So from last week. Okay. So starting from attended the exit conference today with the SAO. I'm sure the county manager will give a more thorough report. I also attended the tour of homes that was hosted by the Olympia Master Builders and Homes First, and that's going to be housing for it's going to be clean housing. So I'm kind of excited. Just a huge shout out to Homes First and kind of this project. I think it's really exciting for our community, and I believe it was passed down from Lot to Homes First, and now so it's a very exciting project to see. I attended Celebración del Salmón, which was an event hosted by the Thurston County and City of Olympia Stream teams, as well as Cielo, and it was an honor to attended the Washington State Association of Counties Board of Directors. The bylaws have moved forward from there, so it will be in the main meeting. Snohomish Council, from what was reported, is split on staying in Wasac, so we might be going down to 38 or 37 counties, not sure. So hopefully we're able to come to a more congruent resolution by the county leaders conference. Attended the Thurston Mason BHASO. I guess the item to report from there, and this came from Joe, is there was a joint meeting between Healthcare Authority as well as the BHASO, our Superior Court, because Maple Lane is going to be adding an additional 60 beds, and Superior Court has stated they do not have the capacity, especially because there is HCA and DSHS, sorry, words are hard today, are not planning to reimburse us. That was not in the budget, and the expansion that happened in King County was written in legislative proviso, and so that's how they were able to get reimbursed. But kind of where we are standing, we're not going to get reimbursed, and so that is something that Joe is going to send an email to all of the commissioners just as a heads up. But Superior Court said that they would need additional funding for staffing as well as additional funding for facilities. Just because they do not have the facilities to be able to hear this many cases. And so we might be making a request to the legislator, and the BHASO is probably going to request that Thurston County join in on that. Law and Justice Council, we reviewed the applications and they're going to be voted on online. And so all the members will have a chance to vote on, and I think the 25th is the last day to vote on them. And then after that, the results of the top two will be sent over to the county commissioners. And we also had an election security overview with Auditor Hall as well as Sheriff Sanders. Intercity Transit, we had our joint meeting with the CAC, and it was a very productive meeting. It's one of my favorite meetings of the year. And then also attended the Timber Caucus meeting. And I'll let Commissioner Menser, as he's the primary for that.
Commissioner Mejia, a couple of questions from your report. One, how many applications or How many applications, did you get for your Law and Justice Council seats?
So we got a total, so 4 applications where not disqualified. We asked the 4 people that submitted applications to, add additional information, but they didn't respond. So those applications were removed from the pool. So in total, we had one, sorry, two, three, 6.
So 6 that were considered and additional 4 that weren't.
Mhm.
Okay, that's good. And then my other question was on the board of directors, the bylaws you're referring to, is there a major, like in terms of the bylaw changes that are going to be discussed or going forward, is there something, I haven't heard much about it, is there something new from what we were debating last fall?
So the new aspect of it has been the changing of the weighted voting. And what we're going to be proposing this time is like if there needs to be similar to kind of like how TRPC, like if a county requests that it be weighted voting, then they have to have a second, right? And then that's when the weighted voting goes into effect, is the big major change. Some counties feel that just how it's laid out, that bigger counties can have basically they can easily, have all the votes. But um, so there's just been a lot of conversations on like trust and how do we move forward.
Okay.
So that's honestly the big change, is when counties can request for that weighted voting to take place.
So they're anticipating that it would be kind of a rarer occasion where
Mhm.
it's something contentious and then somebody could make the request and there'd have to be a second and then the weighted voting would kick in. Otherwise, it doesn't, the default is just straight voting.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions for Commissioner Mejia? Commissioner Klaus?
I do not have any external committee updates.
Thank you. Commissioner Fournier?
Yeah, hi, thank you. I attended the Tenino Chamber of Commerce. Nothing really to report from that. The Experience Olympia and Beyond had its annual meeting and dinner, and I attended that. George Sharp received the Tourism Legend Award, which was pretty cool. And then I guess the other big one would be the Wash State Association WASAC LSC meeting, which was it was a long one, and we kind of reviewed and made recommendations for the legislative agenda for the year. I'll get the specifics, but we had kind of a revenue package that we made recommendations on that had that step REIT kind of the stepped REIT kind of criteria that we shared a couple meetings ago. There was talk about utility taxes, and there was talk about, there was one other thing that was kind of minimal. Oh, no, it wasn't minimal. It was getting better share of the marijuana revenue from the state. And so WASAC wants to go for those things. And then there were some other kind of different legislative issues that I don't recall the specifics of, that I'll get paperwork on for the group.
Okay, any questions for Commissioner Fournier? Thank you. For me, I had, let's see, Timber County's caucus met in Ellensburg. The first half of the meeting was, well, the first third of the meeting was reports from the different committees. The second third of the meeting was a report from Commissioner Ozaitis. I get her name messed up, from Kittitas County, regarding the the forest plan that's being revised, and I'd have to pull up my notes to tell you about that. It's for federal, I forget what they call it, the Northwest Forest Plan, I think. And it relates to management of federal lands. And there's a big update process going on regarding that. And then the third part was more of a science presentation, which I missed because I was in executive session with all of you, but I intend to watch it as soon as it's available because it was going to talk about just kind of some issues that might be relevant to our forest management concerns here in the county. Let's see. Go back to my list. Steady meeting. We had a presentation on the Southwest Agricultural Food Hub. And that was interesting to see how that project is progressing. Kind of sprung up during the pandemic, and or it was percolating before that. It gained some traction and has been able to capitalize on some developments during the pandemic to be to achieve some loftier goals, partnering with 10 different school districts, for example, to try to get fresh food from farmers into schools. They have a worker wellness type program where they do boxes. And, they're doing all kinds of pretty cool stuff. So that was a good presentation. Building Code Council was a very technical meeting. I don't think there's anything of particular relevance to the board. Attended a lot of community events. Some of them, Commissioner Mejia was there, like the one with the salmon and the CALO partnership with the stream team. That was really cool because there was a bilingual tour of the hatchery and there were bilingual participants and interpreter, and so it was actually like, it was very meaningful because there were, and like, what I thought was cool was like most of the questions came from the Spanish speaking participants, and they were, so like, they weren't just they were active participants in what was going on and learning, and had really good questions about how a hatchery works, which is pretty cool, and how it's going to, there were questions about the estuary and how that's going to change activities of the hatchery and Tumwater Falls. So really great event. Shout out to our stream teams, Olympia and Thurston County, that were the organizers there. Attended the Zonta event on Saturday, attended the Experience Olympia event on Thursday. As Commissioner Fournier said, it was awesome to see George Sharp get recognized for his work in our community. And then finally, this morning, County Manager and I attended a joint meeting with the Mayor of Lacey and the City Manager, planning for our October 1st joint public hearing on the Dre and Road annexation. And the reason I wanted to bring this up just briefly is that unlike the one you might remember from Tumwater, where we had an evening meeting just for the purpose of the public hearing, our hearing is going to be woven into a regular council night for the Lacey Council. And not only that, but they're going to be hosting a delegation from their sister city in Poland is arriving that afternoon. The mayor's picking them up at the airport and bringing them, and they have to kind of say hello to them and do some kind of formal recognition at their meeting. So I just wanted to let my seatmates know to be patient. It's going to be slightly, it could be, we need to be flexible about the timing of everything because we are going to have some meal with them around 5 o'clock. So that will happen. We'll probably get a chance to meet their Polish counterparts from their sister city. We're going to have an open council meeting, a piece of the meeting where we're hearing public comment about our annexation issue, and they're going to give the floor for any particular county. Again, this is not a substitute for our kind of big, quarterly or periodic joint council meetings. But if there's a burning issue, there'll be an opportunity to ask. I spoke with the mayor and city manager about for example, the Martin Carpenter Road project. They're still discussing things, and they gave Leonard and I some perspective. We decided not to make that a topic for this meeting, but they do know that we're interested in hearing their input on that, and so that'll be a future topic for us to broach with them. But I think the mayor has a topic related to the Martin Way corridor and I couldn't quite understand something going on with City of Olympia and a grant application or.
Just that the Martin Corridor project I think their City of Olympia is working on an aspect of it, but they wanted to make sure that they could talk with us before that conversation goes too far.
Yeah, okay, so that will be one thing that Lacey will probably bring up, and if there's anything that you really think needs to be addressed, maybe let the county manager know.
Yeah.
So we can see if it fits. So that's my report on external meetings. If there's no questions, we'll go to commissioner items. First up, we have a specific item related to ARPA funds.
Thank you, Chair. In one of our previous conversations, we looked at the remaining ARPA funding, and it was determined that there was a large portion of that the board already authorized to be used for public works, and they're working on some projects. Then there was some research that was requested of us to look at different potentials for the remaining amount of dollars. And what we're reporting back is we've identified that the medical equipment bank is eligible to use $55,000. We've touched base with them, and that's the amount that they're requesting. And then we're also recommending that SCRAM, and SCRAM stands for,
I don't know what SCRAM stands for, but
It's alcohol
substance
monitoring
abuse
bracelets.
monitoring, yeah.
Through your skin, and it's kind of a state-of-the-art technology for 24/7 alcohol monitoring for appropriate
Thank you.
defendants.
And it's a step towards keeping people out of jail.
wonderful.
Keeps them in the community.
So we're recommending at this point 282,000. It could be less because that figure factors in 50,000 from the recovery of the child grant that will come back and finish that conversation. The staff are working with the EDC, and that conversation is going very well right now. But we're looking for direction to use the funding for the medical equipment bank and for SCRAM. We did a quick overview on some of the other areas that the board asked us to look at: Superior Court needs, the fair, and nurse-family partnership. And we've deemed that for various reasons, we're not able to proceed with those. But again, the medical equipment bank and SCRAM are available.
Commissioner here.
Thank you, and I just really want to thank Leonard and staff for this, and for looking towards this proposals. I have a question on the SCRAM. So if we were to approve this, until what year would we be covered?
About 2/3 of the way through 2025. They could use about 400,000 a year.
Okay, so 2/3 of the way for 2025.
So where did that number come, sorry, where does the 282 then come from? It's just what's
Oh.
left?
What's left of the slur for the ARPA funding.
Oh, okay.
And that amount, Summer and Robin are encouraging that that number could ebb and flow as they're finalizing all the different ARPA buckets. But what we'd look for authority from the board is to get that underway so we can make sure that we're allocating the dollars. And Commissioner Mejia, I don't know if you had any more questions.
No, that was it. Thank you.
Robin had something she wanted to add.
Just a clarification on the court backlog
Thank you.
is currently all positions and costs are funded through the end of 2025, and there's sufficient money that the board has already authorized for the backlog that you can cover the Superior Court positions for all of 2026 with no additional allocation. So it's not that we don't recommend that it be funded, it's that it's got sufficient funding.
Okay, can I ask, so
Please.
I'm supportive of the district court SCRAM bracelets, but if we don't have money to go further, I mean, we're potentially buying 8 months, let's just say, 2/3, 8 months extension. And if the plug's gonna be pulled in 8 months and we haven't gotten to that budget conversation, I'm sure the commissioners will consider where resources might extend it, but I guess I'm just throwing it out there, is like, is that the best use of the money if it's just kicking, an unfortunate can 8 months down the road? Commissioner Edwards?
I guess having been through many of these programs, I think anytime you have a success with one of the participants, that's a pretty good success if you can prevent recidivism. So I think it's money well spent. At the same time, it alleviates the jail overcrowding issue and other liability factors that go along with that. So it allows law enforcement to take the action they need against offenders, and it allows us the ability to hold offenders somewhat accountable. I'm not going to say it for those hardcore folks out there, so maybe it's not like throwing them in jail, but they are being held to that higher standard, and if they abuse that, then that's the ones we want to hold to that higher standard anyway. So I think as we utilize programs, even though there's limited funding, we get to see the success of, let's look at it like we do with a pilot. And as they come forward with those success stories, I think it encourages prioritizing resources to go into those kind of programs. So it's quite an alternative for a cop to say that.
I think you convinced me, Commissioner. I mean, put another way, I mean, what you're saying, which I think is true, is that the value that's gotten all along the way is its own value, right? It's not like a building block to something else necessarily. In and of itself can help that family because that person is able to
keep people productive citizens.
And that's a worthwhile, use of those funds. So I think you got me. But Commissioner Mejia, go ahead.
I was just going to add that it gives us also time, it gives the board time to see if there are other possibilities for funding and really have those budget discussions. I think that the data that district court has brought back to the board in terms of the people that it's helping, I think is valuable. And so I know it's only 2/3 of the way, but at least it gives us a little bit more time to come up with solutions.
Okay. So you're looking for thumbs up from the board on the proposal that's laid out in the attached email?
Yep.
Okay, I see 3-4. Commissioner Fournier? Thumb. Got 4.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Do you support the staff's proposal on the remaining use of ARPA funds?
Yes.
Very good. Then we've got full concurrence on that.
And Chair, while we have Summer and Robin here, just give you a quick update on budget process. I want to start by thanking Summer and Robin because they're effectively working two fronts at the same time, working on our TC Connect budget module, but also working in that dynamic with where we're at with TC Connect, working to keep the budget process moving forward. And what I will say is that getting the information from the system and then verifying that information is part of what has been the reason for the delay. I also want to thank Mary Hall, our auditor, who has been working with us. So we'll be hopefully, if not by the end of the day, first thing tomorrow, sending an updated calendar. And then at the same time, they're educating a new county manager on our budget process. And Robin is being so patient with my annoying why, and is doing a good job both educating me as to what the process is, working with Summer, who's doing a great job learning, following up on stuff, responding to things. And then we're also trying to kind of navigate through, while we don't have an MOU with the auditor at this point, still keeping her very much involved as we're working through that conversation. Look forward to bringing that to the board as well. So hopefully a calendar will be coming in the next day or two. And then we'll walk through the information. Absent TC Connect, we would have had this information to you much sooner. And we realize that there's some information that you need to be brought up to speed on. But our desire is to make sure that it's accurate and it's verified, and the team is working hard. Also give a special recognition to Jennifer and Dolly. They are doing an amazing job taking where the system is at and taking the data, verifying it, kind of bending the system's arm backwards to get the information we need. They're really hanging in there, and I really see them coming together as a strong team, supporting Summer and working with Robin on continuity. So that's just a little bit about where we're at with the budget. We have not lost sight of the fact that we want to bring you the forecast. We're rounding up the department request. We want to talk through all those components with you. And our commitment is to get you the information as soon as possible, as soon as it's verified and ready to go.
Questions for County Manager? No, okay. Good on that. So then let's go to Commissioner items. None? Commissioner Mejia,
I do have two very quick ones.
go for it.
The first one I forgot to report is that the WASAC voted me into the Federal Issues Committee, so I will be working on federal issues that affect counties. So if there's anything that you would like me to request on behalf of Thurston County, please let me know. So that will be meeting in the coming months to get ready for next year. And then also just based on the celebration that happened this weekend with Stream Team of Thurston County, the City of Olympia, and CLO, I was actually speaking with Commissioner Menser, and I was just like, when was the last time we heard an update from Stream Team? And it's been a while, so I was going to request, I think it would be great for everyone to see. I see them at several community events. They usually have a table with information, and they have several events throughout the community. And I think it would just be really good to highlight kind of the work that our team is doing out in the community.
Yeah, we'd be happy to bring that back for a board work session. Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Fournier, anything? Nope.
I don't have any comments.
Okay, Commissioner Klaus, any commissioner items?
Yeah, I'll just do a quick update. I didn't give these earlier because they weren't related to external committees, but just kind of a quick update. On my last week, I attended the Interfaith 50th anniversary celebration over the weekend. That was a really awesome event. It was well attended, so I was happy to see that. I attended the Planning Commission meeting last week, and I also had an additional meeting afterwards with a couple planning commissioners. I had a constituent stakeholder group on public safety concerns, and I also had a number of constituent meetings related to DNR cuts, the purchase of the sheriff's office building, and elections concerns. I also did attend the BHASO and Law and Justice meetings, but Commissioner Mejia gave a really good update on those. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Klaus. Okay, I just had two, one super short, and then a question for County Manager maybe. Really short. Obviously Wednesday we have a discussion about the potential response to Board of Natural Resources. I just wanted everyone to know that because our letter had to be posted on Friday, people are able to see it. I was getting people showing me that a few mistakes here and there. So I've done a little bit of cleanup, nothing major, but if you spent time on it, there'll be a new draft circulated at the end of the day. Today I've finished going through all of and I found my own typos. So just a few little things and a new map, which is, I think, cleaner and easier to look at than the one that was attached before. So keep your eyes open for that. We'll discuss that on Wednesday.
Commissioner, maybe
Yeah.
at thought you did a great job of framing where you think, I know we're not ready to discuss the letter per se, but I thought your framing of where you thought we were at based on the input we were getting from the Legacy Forest folks and the position of working with DNR when we met one-on-one. I don't know if you would want to share that with the other commissioners as they're looking at your letter. I know it helped me.
Oh, just in terms of, yeah, so, well, if I'm off base, stop me. But I think what you're talking about is just trying to look at the specifics that's been provided through various sources and presentations, but also understanding that there are going to be a lot of details to be worked out and coordination to be managed. County staff has not staffed this up and dotted every I and crossed every T. We don't have the resources to do that. So really trying to say, here's a possible approach. If the BNR/DNR is willing to work on such an approach, we would convene a stakeholder group to try to work through the details. And that's kind of how I went about trying to take what we were being given and not go too far with it, because, you know, we don't know. There's always complexities when you get down, and the devil is always in the details. So, but the idea from my perspective is to see if our goals could be looked at and seen as something that could be realistically worked toward, and then come up with a process for doing that.
Yeah, kind of like the way I saw it is, it's really more of an invitation to walk through a door rather than say, here's a product and it's bulletproofed and we're ready to give this to you. Mm-hmm. Saw your letter as we've been working with community groups. They've been giving us information. Here's an idea, but this is more of an invitation to go through the door for a discussion and a conversation. Mm-hmm. And really trying to get beyond the situation where it's give us information and then we'll look in the black box and tell you if it passes or not, but to have a collaboration with the junior taxing districts as well. Correct. Because it's nuanced and there's a lot of options that we believe the department with this subject matter expertise should be able to help navigate through if everyone was focused on a solution.
Yeah. There is a new paragraph at the beginning of the keeping beneficiaries whole that I added today. So I think it is a little more specific than what was in the first draft. Go ahead, Commissioner Edwards.
I guess that was one of my questions, what substance got changed, you know, but the gist of it is relatively the same.
Yeah, nothing has gotten, so the main thing that was getting hung up is the percentage, like speaking of it in terms of percentages, it gets confused, it gets very confusing because it's like, are you talking, you have capital state forest, but then the county line goes right down the middle. So are you talking about the whole capital state forest, including Grays Harbor, or are you just talking about the Thurston County side? In order to eliminate all that confusion, I just replaced it with the number of acres in Thurston County that have been identified as mature complex forest. And then I just use that number. That way nobody's trying to say that we're playing games with the percentages or whatever. That's number one. Second one was a new paragraph at the very first paragraph under financial beneficiaries. That's a little different because I got new information over the weekend that actually a DNR representative has met with, has sort of started a cooperative effort to try to work through some of the, like how this cut might affect beneficiaries, how that cut might. But so I put that in there that the meeting's happening and there's a process and we're willing to go through that process with the beneficiaries. So I replaced that paragraph, and then again, the map, which is Exhibit C, I think you'll find it to be a lot cleaner and easier to look at.
Just one quick thing. Okay, in the original draft, you did mention the stakeholders and stuff, and the letter from the BNR asked that we think about including those junior taxing districts. Is that what you meant when you said the stakeholders expansion group? Is that what you're proposing?
Yeah, I mean, what's proposed is if the expressed goal was to preserve those 4,300 acres, then we would be sitting down to figure out what alternative cuts and what strategies would keep beneficiaries whole and try to get us to a mutually acceptable pathway. But I'm not, but there has to be a commitment that this is a valid goal and a goal that we're working toward, even if it's not, 100%. But because what we've seen up to this point is no commitment to such a goal and just running around in circles. And that hasn't been productive, and we're out of time to continue in this way. We need a more, we need more of a agreement about where we're headed before I think the time expenditure is worthwhile.
I guess I would just mention, as we move into this Wednesday discussion, that if my seatmates get an opportunity to hear a press conference by Superintendent of Public Instruction Reichtel today that took place on the McCleary decision and the lack of funding statewide all the school districts are facing, I would encourage you to listen to that. It's kind of a reality of what's coming up in the next legislative session on his position on the need to address McCleary adequately. And we're not there. So I know we're going to talk a little bit about this whole thing on Wednesday, but I think that discussion by the Superintendent of Public Instruction becomes relevant to this.
Well, the good thing about that is that superintendent is a member of the Board of Natural Resources itself, so he will be able to.
But he didn't sign the letter that we got in March. His name was on there.
Well, he can
I don't
weigh
think
in.
he's opposed to it or anything.
He'll provide that perspective to his seatmates on the BNR if that's relevant, so that's good. But I'll check that out. Okay. Okay, my other issue, and it might not be the right time, and if it's not, that's fine, but we had an email, and I'm just catching up on stuff about potential alternative proposals on the Board of Health composition.
Yes.
And I didn't see as one of the proposals kind of the original idea of before the commissioners expanded to 5.
Okay.
It was 3 commissioners, a city, 3 citizens, and a tribe. It was like the proposal being made is 2 commissioners and 2 city, or 2 commissioners and 3 city with an expanded Board of Health.
Say that composition again.
So
3 commissioners?
3 commissioners, the city rep,
1 city rep?
yeah,
Okay.
1 rotating city rep,
Okay.
and then the 3 citizens and the tribal member. That was really the original conception, and then we expanded to 5 commissioners, which made us expand to 12, and now we're talking about possible, changes, but I still like the original,
I don't think the team that put this together maybe was completely aware of this because some of the players have changed. I can update the information and just send that out as an additional option.
I would just like that considered, because
Absolutely.
until I'm convinced otherwise, that's what I think it makes the most sense.
Thank you for bringing
Because
that
you
up.
retain the greatest amount of county oversight. But go ahead, is there any reason not to have that considered?
What was your suggestion? I apologize.
My suggestion was kind of the original conception of the Board of Health, which was 3 commissioners. At the time, it was 3 out of 3. At this point, it would be 3 out of 5. 1 rotating city representative, 3 citizens, and a tribal representative. Because right now, the closest thing to that under the proposal was 2 commissioners and 2 city, and a North city and a South County city and a North County city, and 3 citizens and a tribe. But to me, the reason to reduce county commissioner involvement and increase city was only if we needed to, if we wanted to keep the expanded, number.
Sure.
But if we're looking back at the 8 original idea, I at least want to be able to discuss that,
Absolutely.
not have it off the table.
I'll put that back on the
Thank you.
table, and thanks for bringing it up.
Okay. That was it for me. Any other commissioner items before we go? Commissioner Fournier does thumbs up.
No, yeah, I just want to say I appreciate adding that option.
Perfect, thank you.
And I agree with that option as well.
I mean, so could I ask Commissioner Mejia? Isn't that similar to what you were putting together, Commissioner Mejia? What Ty just brought up?
For the For the Board of Health?
Yeah, I thought you had something very similar to that.
Well, it was brought up to an executive meeting and that's kind of like a way I had discussed options with Leonard to kind of give us more options. But that's kind of where I was leaning, so I'm glad Commissioner Minster brought it up.
Yeah, I think this was great context, Commissioner Mensah. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the agenda. We're adjourned.
All right, thank you so much.
Sir.
Thank you.